I need someone to walk through something with me because I'm genuinely freaking out about what I found, and I need someone to tell me that this isn't as bad as it looks. So I'm always keeping an ear to the ground when it comes to biotech, especially wearable biotech, because I hate how these health devices are kind of just major data collection tools. And on June 24th, RFK Jr. was in a congressional hearing, and he had said something that kind of bothered me. He said that my vision is every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years. To me, this didn't sound like him encouraging people to get fitness trackers. It sounded like a federal mandate that he wanted everyone to wear biotech monitoring devices by 2029. I'm like, okay, well, where's this money coming from? I mean, you can't put a bunch of surveillance devices on 330 million people without some sort of massive funding, because I assume that that's kind of what he's talking about. So I go looking for the money. I decide to start digging through Trump's big, beautiful bill, because I figure if there's any biotech surveillance funding, it's got to be buried in there somewhere. As I'm reading through it, I'm seeing all of these cuts that we've been talking about all week, right? Like they're cutting the NIH budget by 40%, the CDC by 50%. Like they're literally dismantling agencies that do actual medical research and disease prevention, and it's absolutely disgusting. But then I see this line item, and it's for $25 billion for something called Rural Health Transformation Program. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a second, so you are destroying real medical research, defunding rural hospitals to the point of closure, but spending $25 billion on rural health? Like, what is that? This is the first I'm hearing of this. So I start digging into whatever this rural health transformation system is and what it actually means. What it is remote monitoring, robotics, artificial intelligence, and other advanced technologies. And that always makes me pause, right? Technologia. Now look, investing in AI and technology for healthcare isn't weird. Like that's exactly what we should be doing to help patients and advance medical care. But here's what doesn't make sense to me. You don't defund the NIH and the CDC while simultaneously spending $25 billion on a rural health program. Like this does not feel like an improvement to rural health, obviously. It feels like a replacement to rural health. Oh, but then I noticed there's a timeline attached to this budget because $20 billion of that $25 billion gets spent in just the years 2028 and 2029 alone. The same years RFK Jr.'s wearables has a deadline for us, right? So that's interesting. This is when I went from confused to actually scared. So Peter Thiel's company, Palantir, you know, the surveillance company that builds spy tools for the government, well, he just got a $443 million contract with the CDC. Yeah, the same CDC that they're defunding by 50%. So they're destroying the public health agency and then paying Peter Thiel's surveillance company to take over its data functions. And look, whenever I think about Peter Thiel, I know that Elon Musk also is probably involved because those two are thick as thieves, quite literally. I mean, Thiel bought JD Vance's seat in the White House and Musk bought Donald Trump's. So I just assume they're running the country. So while Thiel's getting all of these healthcare data contracts, like what's Musk doing? You know, he's been very vocal about hating this bill. It doesn't benefit him, right? So I check on Neuralink, which is Musk's brain chip company, and I find out that they had just selected in January the University of Miami as their second US site for human brain implant trials. Yes, you heard that right. In fact, they literally just completed one of their first ever human brain chip surgeries like 2 days ago. No, I'm not kidding. Wish I was, sure am not. Now look, I want to be clear that the University of Miami has a very legit reputation when it comes to like brain research and helping paralyzed patients, so on the surface this kind of partnership makes sense. And if we were talking about a doctor who cares about the well-being of others, that would be one thing. But we're talking about Elon Musk here, the same guy who has reportedly 1,500 animals since 2018 at Neuralink medical facilities for failed medical experiments. And employees have actually come forward and complained about these hack jobs because Elon Musk is always pressuring them to move fast. Like, move fast and break things, except for these things this time are living beings. And he's always stated that his goal is not just about helping patients, but that he wants symbiosis with artificial intelligence. That's actually the mission statement on Neuralink's website. So, because there's always a modus operandi behind everything they do, I'm thinking to myself, well, why Florida specifically? Like, there's a lot of great neuroscience programs across the United States. What's so special about Florida? And this is when it gets dark. I'm just gonna warn anyone who's still watching. I start digging around in Florida legislation and I see that on May 30th, DeSantis had vetoed a bill that would have let families sue doctors for medical malpractice if it resulted in death. Like, he vetoed that bill. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because Florida, while under DeSantis's rule, has become an experimental playground for all kinds of policies that would never fly in any other state. He's consistently using emergency powers to bypass normal oversight, testing controversial programs, and pushing the boundaries of what's legally actually possible in the United States of America. Florida, I'm so sorry for everybody who has to live under Ron DeSantis. So what if Florida wasn't just chosen because of UM's research reputation? Like, what if it was chosen because DeSantis has created the perfect environment for experimental procedures with minimal legal consequences? A place where you could potentially test things on people that you couldn't get away with literally anywhere else. And look, maybe these brain chips are doing some net good and it's all very above the board and everybody is happy, taken care of, and their lives are better. Except there are a handful of people whose lives actively aren't better right now in Florida. And those are the people going to Alligator Alcatraz. So I decided to check the distance, from the detention center where thousands of people are going to be held against their will, to the University of Miami where Elon Musk and Neuralink are actively doing brain implant experiments. Perhaps some of you see where I'm going with this. So I Google Maps it and my heart kind of sinks because it's a lot closer than I thought it would be. It's about 45 miles apart. So I'm sitting here thinking there's no way he's gonna do what I'm thinking he's gonna do, right? There's no logical reason why these two things should be connected, right? And again, I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to implicate the University of Miami in anything. They have been a legitimate research center for the better half of 40 years, helping patients who are paralyzed. They are legit as fuck. And Elon Musk uses his own surgeons, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, the thing is, look at who gets hurt by this, by all of this. When you put it all together, when you defund the NIH and the CDC and rural hospitals close, it's always poor people who lose access to healthcare. So if you want to control those communities, or let's say you want to have predictive police surveillance, what do? You destroy the healthcare systems and the infrastructures that serve those low-income populations, and then you say, oh, don't worry, we have a solution for you, and it's surveillance technology disguised as healthcare. They become dependent on the tech because they have no other options. You took those away. You defunded those. And if you've just cut healthcare for millions of people, then that means the clock's a ticking, because if I also remember correctly, then you need to have this biotech ready to go by no later than 2028. So you either need a lot of human volunteers or you need a group of detained immigrants who maybe can't consent, can't sue, can't speak out. What was the name of that other place that performed criminal medical experiments on prisoners? Ugh.